it's a pain in the butt. You hit your ball in the trees and then you lip out the putt. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us. 'Cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
Hello, 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 and welcome down to the one, the only Rough Cut Golf Podcast, bringing you the best in audio golf entertainment that you will listen to definitely within the next hour and a bit. I am joined by Kieran and Jacob.
Hello.
Mick is currently away on holiday from a country we have just come back from, the beautiful sunlit shores of Portugal.
Portugal.
Yes, we came back, when was it, Sunday?
Sunday,
Yes. What day are we on now?
Tuesday.
Yes.
It feels like it was yesterday, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's been a bank holiday in the UK. A bank holiday is when everyone skies off work for a single day. And now that is why we are a day late for the podcast. So if you have been sitting around your headphones for a day wondering what has been going on, that is why we are a little bit late. I apologise profusely on behalf of our national bank holiday system.
Well, you know.
We've got quite a lot in May. Got 3 in May.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Got another one.
I know.
Next,
coming up.
another one next week, and then
Thank you,
another
King.
one at the end of May. End of May, I think, yeah. So there's 3 of them.
I think there's been a definite, since I started kind of running a business rather than working for a business, there's been a definite change in my opinion towards
Did you
a bank holiday.
even notice they were a thing before?
Not for like the last kind of 10 years, because when you're self-employed,
You just
it just doesn't
drive through
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't really matter. Especially like because I was coaching all that time, like bank holidays are the days that other people have off. So those days are already
they were
booked up.
perfect for you to
Yeah,
get a
exactly.
full diary.
So weekends and bank holidays and stuff like that when other people will be off. Perfect. Let's get
well,
it
you
booked in. But you know what? It's fine. I fully understand that people do like a break.
Yeah, so I've heard.
Talking about beautiful breaks and places to go, I think we would all recommend very highly Portugal.
Yeah.
We have managed to get, I think, 3 absolute bangers of videos over there. The first one, I don't think it's any issue kind of like talking about.
No.
Yeah.
We played at the Dunas course at Comporta, which is a brand new development. It's literally so new that nobody has played there yet, except for us. We were the first 18 holes ever to be played at this golf course. And I think we can all agree it was decent.
Really good.
Yeah, nice. Really, really nice course. The back 9 especially, like, that was probably one of my favourite that back 9 was one of my favourite, like, filming experiences we had, I would say. 100%.
Ever.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
very
Yeah,
nice.
like, that back 9 was just
It was pure,
mega.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Mega.
I mean, it's quite unusual as well because like we had literally for the first time ever an entire golf course to ourselves. There was literally no one else on there,
Yeah, which was nice.
which is obviously unique. Like you never ever get that kind of access. You never get that type of experience. So to be out there to be able to film pretty much whatever we wanted was absolutely insane. It was incredible.
Very, very cool.
The course that we played as well, it's the same designer as Bandon Dunes. What else was there? Mammoth Dunes.
Yeah. Any other course you know which has dunes
Dunes
at
in
the end,
it.
it's basically the same.
Dave Mackay kid.
Yeah.
And just an absolutely unbelievable golf course. So that video will be coming soon, and then we headed down to Quinta del Lago, which I've been to before, but you boys haven't. So.
No, not been. Very, very impressed. Lovely setup. I mean, what more can you say, really? How many 3 golf courses there?
3. So we were at Quinta del Lago South and North, and then we went to Laranjal,
Yep.
which means
Don't know.
Orange.
something to do with oranges, yeah. It's like in a massive orange plantation. So that was lovely. But the South course at Quinta del Lago is officially voted the best golf course in Europe. And we played a full 18, tried to see if we could beat par. And I would say that course found me out a little bit.
I'm loving the use of us and we when it comes to we played and we tried to beat. Well, I mean, I appreciate it because I'd like to think that we do provide some kind of moral support and on a couple of occasions, reading of greens.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Kieran.
He's
What's-
Jacob's a very I person. Aren't you? You like
Yeah,
it. You
no,
like,
no,
you like
I'm-
saying I.
I mean, as in, like, I like that you've included us, but it's like we tried to break and we didn't hit a golf ball.
But we're a team.
I think you will find you hit a lot of golf
No,
balls
but
this
not,
trip.
not in those
What?
videos.
Unbelievable. You know what? I sacrificed
Oh, here we
a
go.
large amount of content for you guys.
Have you got some violins on there?
So
Kieran?
these boys could go out and play 36 holes of golf, have a really wonderful time. And what do I get for it? Nothing. What do I get for it?
I said thank
I know.
you. I very much appreciate
3 unbelievable YouTube videos. That's what you get out of it.
Yeah, very true.
It's for moral support, you know. Or, you
Well,
know,
they-
keep morale high, keep spirits up in camp.
The reason I say we is precisely that. Like I could go out and shoot these videos by myself, but they wouldn't be very good.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when
yeah. I don't know.
when
We're a
we
team.
go out, when we go out and film, it's a we.
Okay.
Listen, I'm not going to be that guy that says it's all me, because it's not. Why would I lie about that?
That's true.
Don't like saying it's all me. Don't like referring to myself in the third person. These are the only two things you need to know about me.
And
Peter Finch.
thank you, Peter Finch.
Oh dear, but it was a fantastic trip. Those videos will be coming very, very soon. Also, something which is going to be coming very, very soon is the giveaway, because the Rough Cut Golf Podcast on
Yes.
YouTube has hit 10,000 subscribers. So thank you all very, very much for hitting that subscribe button. If you haven't already and you haven't checked us out on YouTube, you can go over there and do that, where you will get the video version of this podcast. And it would be fantastic if you did that, because within the next few weeks, we're going to be doing this giveaway and you're not going to want to miss out. But a big thank you to everybody who has followed us on that platform.
Yeah, you guys smashed it.
It's been absolutely
Put out
wonderful.
that thing on Twitter, and then within like an hour, it was like 10,000 subscribers. It was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, so now we're at like 10,600 now or something like that. So
It's actually too many.
yeah, that's too. Yeah, we do. We
Like,
want more.
if we could start giving some back, we could, but unfortunately,
And
that's
now,
not
and now
how
you
it
get the
works.
chance to win Kieran's services for a day. It's very exciting.
Yeah, the giveaway is probably just Kieran. Do whatever you want with him. Maybe
We don't need him back.
Maybe we could get rid of him for more than a day.
More than a day.
Yeah.
Kieran, how long would you be happy to do?
I'll do a week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do a week.
Hell of a giveaway.
Wow. Like, you're saying that blind, like you have no idea who's going to take you on.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I can do anything.
Well,
I can set my mind to.
Okay.
whatever you want.
it is one thing about Kieran. He's very, very humble.
Yeah.
The boy can do anything. Anything he sets his mind to.
Yeah.
Talking about anything that people set their minds to,
Ooh.
a golf brand has been brought back from the dead. Now, do you guys actually know about Adams Golf at all?
I know the name. I know the name. I've definitely held. I think I've held an Adams Golf Club before, potentially one that's sort of a very old club that's been handed about in the family. But
Yeah.
I've never sort of been of age to know fully about them and what they were about / what they are.
Was it not Keegan Bradley? What was that guy? Hunter Mahan? Was he Adams? There was someone I remember being Adams Golf. Tom Watson?
Tom Watson for a while was.
Tom-
I mean, they sponsored quite a few people. Hunter Mahan was Ping
Yeah.
before his untimely demise
no, there's
for no
some-
apparent reason.
There's another one that I can't remember, but it is there.
I mean,
Can't remember.
they sponsored, like, back in the day, it was Tom Watson. There was a lot of senior players as well,
Yeah.
because their whole thing was about really, really elite hybrid clubs. And the Tight Lies series of clubs. It was honestly, they were really good. Their fairway woods were amazing. Their hybrids were amazing. That's mostly what people used. And then things just started to, like, about 10 years ago, just like go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't producing the same level of clubs. They got bought out by TaylorMade. And then I think what TaylorMade did, and you see this quite a bit really within the golf industry, is a bigger company will buy a smaller company,
Yeah.
absorb it into the greater entity, the greater are good, and
Yeah.
then like
greater are good.
cherry pick all the technology that they like out of those clubs
Yeah.
and just make it into the ultimate bigger brand.
What's another example of that?
Oh, God, if you think about, see, this again, going back, like Top Flight, for example,
Right.
like that was absorbed, pretty sure into Callaway, pretty sure.
Okay.
But that was absorbed. If you think about things like Cobra Golf, slightly different example, that was absorbed into Puma. If you think about when Adidas bought TaylorMade, and then there was that split in that separation.
Yeah.
And also within the Adams line, this is like a train. So Adams, I'm pretty sure it worked in this order. So Adams Golf acquired Yes Golf, the putter brand. And then when TaylorMade bought Adams, they also acquired
Yes, at the
all
same
the
time.
Yes
Right.
stuff. So the Adams Golf clubs, which are coming out now, it's just been literally just announced. And they are coming in at an interesting price point. So you're looking at the driver being at $299, which is undercutting a lot of the competition, including TaylorMade's flagship models, by a good $300. And they're doing package sets. The clubs look good. We're going to try and get some through to test. But also, within the range, they're not called Yes Putters. They're called Adams Putters. But the Yes Putters are back with the C grooves.
All right, so they are the same thing.
Well, they're just branding it as Adams Golf.
Yeah, so it's not a Yes Golf putter anymore. It's an Adams putter, but that same tech that was in the Yes putters, which were for many years like one of the best-selling putters out there. Everybody
They were
had
beautiful. They were beautiful putts.
them. They were fantastic.
Yes went to TaylorMade, and you say that they kind of like bought the trademark or the copyright of the design or whatever. So there's obviously no issues with them doing this.
No. So let's say, an example, a golf club that has something unique about it, something which is patented, which is trademarked. So let's say Callaway with its jailbreak tech
Yeah.
in its club face that attaches the bottom of the club to the top of the club. Now, there's many different ways of doing that, but let's say, I don't know, Slazenger acquired Callaway.
Yeah.
Like, they might not name their Slazenger driver jailbreak, but they could take that technology and put it in their driver.
It's more the name rather than...
Yeah.
So they're taking the technology from a TaylorMade driver and putting it into an Adams.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of reverse engineering. I mean,
Yeah.
the Adams driver, you can kind of tell what they've done. So in the front of TaylorMade drivers, there's something called a speed pocket. In the front of the Adams drivers, there's something called a velocity slot, which I'm pretty sure they just went on thesaurus.com.
Yeah.
Said, what's another name for speed? Velocity.
Synonyms for-
Yeah, exactly. And what's another name for a pocket, a slot? Right, okay, so we'll call it a velocity slot. And there are a few like little other similarities with a TaylorMade driver.
That's interesting. Is there, I mean, because say my background knowledge of sort of old club manufacturers isn't brilliant, I must say, but is there any, when you were playing, is there one that you'd like to see come back again?
Yes.
Yes, Butters.
Yeah, yes, with an exclamation mark.
Was there like a brand at the time when you were coming up was like really cool or like one that everyone wanted and now is just...
Well, they've tried to make a few comebacks recently, but Ben Hogan irons were like an iron you wanted.
Yeah.
Same with McGregor irons.
Yeah.
Like McGregor irons, the V-foil stuff from...
Haven't they bought some new ones out recently?
Yeah, but again, it's a cheaper price point. Like with Adams and with McGregor especially, they went into a marketplace of selling like package sets. And they got really, really cheap, and it devalued their overall quality. And yeah, Ben Hogan, McGregor irons, V4, they were so good. Things like MaxFly. You remember MaxFly?
Yeah.
Like they were massive at one point. Again, they were bought out. Can't remember who by, but because with this as well, let's say a small manufacturer has something unique, and the manufacturing distribution, say, of MaxFly with its golf balls.
Yep.
If a company, let's say, wants to get into the golf ball manufacturing process, they could buy a smaller ball company. Because we said this for a lot. Let's say Ping tried to produce a golf ball and couldn't do it because of the expense that they were outputting to create all the infrastructure.
Yeah.
It would have been cheaper for Ping to, say, buy a smaller golf company which was already making balls.
Yeah.
Which is entirely possible. Let's say Ping bought out,
Volvic.
Yeah, Volvic. Or like a Snell, or like a Seed Ball, or Vice are obviously quite a big company now, but like a Vice, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, but yeah, those brands coming back would be amazing.
Cool.
Nike,
yeah.
That you kind of forget.
Could you imagine?
You kind of
that
forget
first
that
set
was
of irons
huge.
they released. That they would be very.
They'd
touted,
sell out
wouldn't they?
instantly. They would.
They would. You get the feeling now that if Nike brought back golf clubs, they would potentially be more popular now than they were.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bit of a bias towards the good old days. They were great clubs. It's so sad they're gone. So if they were brought back, not so much the drivers. I don't think they ever quite nailed that. But like the irons were great.
Yeah.
Wedges were great.
Can you imagine if some Nike irons were sent in here? I think we'd have to have like a 4-man scrap. Fight
We'd
to the
each take
death.
an iron each. We'd have a 4 iron, you'd have a 5, and Nick had a 6, and David had a. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It might just be like a thing where it's the scarcity of them now.
Yeah.
There's not that many around.
No.
So potentially that's why we get so excited when we see a Nike iron. But if they brought it back, I think they'd do all right.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that'd be
I
okay.
love. I'm wearing Nike at the moment, but I love Nike. I remember when we went to the warehouse. The first place I went was to the Nike stuff. Like went to the drivers, like with the the covert stuff like that. I really like that. I don't know about you guys. I quite liked it.
Yeah, it was
okay.
It didn't really
Yeah.
work, but I liked the idea of it.
Yeah.
Like the difference of it.
It was okay. Well, I think like one of my first trips away to like a manufacturer to see kind of a new product was the last release of the Nike drivers.
Oh, really? What, you went to the Nike manufacturing?
It was up in Archerfield.
Oh, okay.
Where's that? Oh, in Scotland.
Scotland, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they basically they
know,
booked out so on the Archerfield estate they've got the Archerfield house, which is like a big mansion house, and Nike booked the entire place out. So each room had a journalist in, and it was me and Rick who went.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty heavy few days.
Yeah.
Because
What, drinking wise, or what?
yeah, well, in every room. So I'm not even joking here. In every room, they had a help yourself bar.
Really?
So I went into this massive room, this suite that was incredible, and then one entire corner was taken over by a bar, and I was like, "This is for free." And obviously, young and pretty precious. I was like, "Well, I need to take advantage of this."
Obviously, yeah.
But if you ever and you're ever in a situation where you get 12 to 15 journalists in one house with free booze, it's going to get a bit messy.
Yeah.
I remember pretty specifically outside the front of that house, there's not like a roundabout, but like a turning circle.
Yeah,
and in the
yeah.
middle of that, there's this big sculpture of a deer on there. And I'm
Okay.
pretty sure me and Rick took turns riding that about 2 o'clock in the morning. There's a massive piano in the foyer. We're all playing that. None of us can play. And halfway through the first night, there's a massive leak at the back of the house.
Right.
Water, just absolutely smashing through one of the ceilings. So you had about, 15 journalists all searching for buckets, just laughing their heads off, trying to stop this leak, which was coming from upstairs. Someone had left the tap on. And it was oh my God. But it was one of the rooms that we weren't using.
Oh, right.
So we had to get people out and to pick, it was chaos.
Oh, God.
And then we played North Berwick.
Have you been back to that house?
Nope, surprisingly
it's
not.
funny that.
But you can, I'm pretty sure you can book it out. So
okay.
Let's say if we wanted to do a trip.
Christmas party.
Yeah. So if we got 20 people there, and it doesn't work out mentally crazy. It'd be a few £100 each.
Okay.
But the more people you get in there, obviously the
Yeah.
cheaper it
We've
is.
got 10,000 people watching this.
Yes,
so,
it's true.
If we all get together and
Christmas up at Archerfield.
Yeah.
Not played. We've not played Archerfield. Well, obviously you have probably, but I've seen a lot of people go into Archerfield. Is it a good course?
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah.
Are we going there this year?
Yes, I think we're there when the Scottish Open.
Scottish
is on.
Open, yeah.
Yeah, so going over there, doing some stuff with the FootJoy players.
Mm.
But that was a Nike facility at that point. And I kind of got the sense that it was going to be Nike golf clubs were nearing the end when their big selling point of the driver, the new one, was the fact that they changed colour.
Yeah.
And they changed colour to be more in line with the other releases within Nike. So like their football boots and
Yeah,
that
like
kind
the
of stuff.
blue and yellow, that sort of thing. Yeah.
So at that time I was like, this is this isn't great. But yeah, I mean, what were they producing? I quite liked the balls as well when they came out.
It's just something for me about the tick. Like I just love the tick. I don't know what it is. Maybe I got associated with like Tiger Woods or like Ronaldo or something like that. But I don't know. I love Nike so much. So yeah,
I don't really have much. I don't have a real affinity with them. Like outside of golf. So
yeah.
I've always had a.
When you were a young, sprightly young footballer scoring many goals up front in Preston, what kind of football boots would you get drawn to?
Whatever the cheapest was.
Some Sondicos.
I think Diodora.
yeah.
Nice. I had a nice pair of Diodoras.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember that. And a nice, I think, Umbro. I think I had a really good set of Umbro ones. But yeah, whatever was cheapest.
Where Kieran had like the brightest coloured possible Nike boots.
No, I didn't. I don't think I actually had a pair of Nikes until like 16. Before I was actually Adidas. I had some red Adidas like shoes that I had for like literally about 6 years of playing football, and I remember like it just got scuffed up everything like that.
I always really, really wanted the World Cups, the Adidas World Cups.
Yeah, but they were like
they were just like
mega expensive.
Mega expensive, but also I remember they only had them, or when I think it was a case where they only had like the plastic molds in them, but like the circular studs, not the cleats. Yeah. And when we were playing, my mum and dad were always like, "You have to buy it. We'll buy you which boot you want, but you have to have it so it's changeable, so you can put your rugby studs in and your football studs in, because they wouldn't buy two of one of each and one of the other. So I was never allowed to have them because they were like molded into the boot.
Well,
yeah,
there you go.
There you go.
That took a sideways turn, didn't it?
Yeah.
I've just veered through about 6 different sports in 2 seconds. Though.
But no, I had a look at I saw you post the on Twitter the Adams advert that they put out.
Yeah, it was weird,
and it was a bit weird, wasn't it? What do you reckon their like target market is?
Looking at the website, looking at the pricing, they're going for new golfers.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
They're going for new golfers who have a little bit of money to spend, but not enough money to spend to get like a full new set of your TaylorMade, your Callaway, whatever.
Yeah.
And then also probably your more casual golfer. I mean, the advert was weird.
Yeah, it was a bit odd, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you can still buy like package sets off the Adams website.
Right.
So you can get like a really cool kind of weekend bag with about 6 or 7 clubs in there. I mean, listen, if it works, great. I am excited to get it through and test it. I am excited to get the yes, not yes putters through to test as well. It is interesting because it's got like we've reached that point in the year now where all the brands have released everything.
Yeah.
I think Titleist usually have a bit of stuff at the back end of the year, but I think we've seen enough of all the brands and what they've brought out to give a bit of a ranking, I think, as far as like the clubs that are the best, what's been great, what we haven't quite liked. I think that's probably a right time of year to do that. I mean, what have you guys found this year? What have you seen that you've liked the best?
Out of the new releases?
Yeah, it's got to be new release.
Yeah, new release. Oh, interesting. I mean, I really enjoy the Callaway, like what they did at the back with the meshing and stuff like that. That looks like a bowling ball, yeah. But it could be
the forged carbon.
Yeah, the forged carbon. But it could have been so much better. But I love the idea of it. I love the look of it. I remember when we saw the Masters, not Masters edition, limited edition driver, which looked pretty cool as well. But yeah, I'd probably say Callaway, just in terms of a brand, has smashed it this year. Yeah. From the club perspective, and then also like with the signings of Good, Bob the Sports, all those sort of stuff. Like they pretty much nailed it, I think, this year.
Yeah, we're kind of at a point now, aren't we, where the new things that are coming out doesn't change too much to now what's already been out before. If you think of like TaylorMade Stealth, it's the Stealth 2. They've made a better product in terms of how you felt it felt, its distance, its forgiveness, But in terms of, they didn't have an additional selling point on top of it. They had the carbon face from before, so there wasn't really anything to go with that. Callaway, obviously, with the Paradigm, they've produced a really, really good driver. But the Rogue from last year is still a great driver as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing at the minute, or at least from this year's releases, that's that kind of real grab you in, kind of taking you in. Oh, that's new, that's different. Is that going to change the way that clubs are made for the next 5 years? Which, like the Stealth was last year. So I agree with Kieran. I think the Paradigm, I've really enjoyed that. I've got that in the bag at the minute, and I really like that. The TaylorMade irons always look amazing. I think you found that one of the videos we've got coming out soon. Kieran and Pete had a match, which is hopefully going to be enjoyable for you guys to watch. It was certainly enjoyable for me to film. And you used some TaylorMade irons in there.
Yeah, they look good. Yeah.
So it's interesting. The things that I've done a complete U-turn on after this trip in Portugal is TaylorMade have brought out so many different variations of the Spider putter in the last year and a half, 2 years, away from the original kind of classic Spider design. Yeah. And they've not looked like spiders. They're not spiders at all.
No, I think what they've done is they had a winning design and kind of very recognizable putter in the Spider. So what they've done is they've taken the Spider and turned that into a sub-brand almost, rather than a design. It has now become a brand, which I'm not entirely sure about, to be honest. But I know what you mean.
Well, I think it's like Spider GT or something like that. But anyway, the rental set that I used whilst I was out in Portugal had one of these newer modelled spiders, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was. You did pull well with it. Didn't you?
So I'm quite keen to have a look.
You can't talk about putting well.
I was about to say,
that's disgraceful.
Yeah, I know that PXG.
I mean,
wow.
I think if we go, if we go from driver first, so we've been doing a Build My Bag series, so that is getting the best clubs for my game in my bag and then doing reviews alongside it. So there might be a bit of a crossover here, but I think generally speaking, probably Callaway with the Paradigm drivers.
Yeah.
Although you vibe with the TaylorMade, I think that's one thing that we didn't mention about the Portugal trip was that you drove the ball incredibly.
Yeah.
Probably the best I've ever seen you hit.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I think it's more, again, just getting used to it a little bit. So there was never an issue with me around the Stealth 2 Plus about the distance.
Yeah.
It was more about the forgiveness on off-centre hits, which is better than the original Stealth, but still not great. But I have to say that I think Paradigm, as far as a complete driver, it's there. It's new enough to be exciting and performs well enough compared to the previous models to be worth looking at. I think Ping's weird. Ping was probably the most exciting driver release in the respects that they've not brought one out in almost 2 years. And then also maybe slightly underwhelming in the fact that really nothing changed.
Yeah.
Like they introduced carbon onto the LST version for the first time, and performance-wise for me that was a bit better. But yeah, you know what you're getting from Ping. I was just hoping that they'd bring us something a little bit more, something a little bit different.
Completely nailed that, and I had that one.
Yeah.
But it's still great. That's the thing about Ping drivers; they're always going to be good.
Literally the best.
I don't know if they've felt a little bit of weight on the shoulders of they've released such a good driver, the 425, and it's like if we mess this up, how long people have waited for this driver as well.
100%, yeah.
Maybe they just found something that was it's close enough, they'll do.
It's a little bit of a case of if it's not broke, you don't have to fix it. Yeah. So there's no need to. I think for me, again, I kind of go back to it a lot, and this is something which is genuinely confusing for me. I didn't get on with the Cobra driver at all, like the new Aerojet.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. I just didn't get it.
Whereas everyone else
was loving it.
Yeah,
so I need to go back and do that. Probably the max version of that was the most sense for me because it had that extra bit of forgiveness. But yeah, I'd say
I thought it was very good looking as well. I loved the color, the color scheme of it.
Yeah.
Very, very nice.
But I was the same. I thought it looked pretty good, and
Yeah.
that was the one thing that other people didn't like.
Yeah.
I'm just so
Well, you-
confused.
so
You're just you,
mixed
aren't
on
you?
that.
You're just you.
So mixed.
Oh, I mean, it's not
Your own person.
like
You're
obviously
Finch.
what we want to do. We want to like we don't want to just blend in and just be
Yeah.
like other versions
You're not
of,
a sheep.
of other people. Yeah.
Do you,
Nah.
But at the same time, it was so my feeling of it was so different than everyone else. It kind of confused me.
It's like, am I right? here?
Is this me?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
me. So yeah.
One question I do have with in terms of drivers is that like obviously in recent like I don't know how many years it's been, but brands have been releasing a new driver, especially like TaylorMade, Callaway, Cobra, release a driver every single year.
Yeah.
Do you think that is going to be sustainable, and do you think that they'll keep going with that?
It's sustainable as long as people buy.
Yeah.
It is as simple as that. Like these are companies that are based on profit, and
Yeah, that's true,
if they're
yeah.
bringing out a driver every year that is working, then they'll continue to do that. I think as far as probably what you're alluding to here is performance. Like, is there an increase in performance year on year?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, in
Yeah.
like in the research and development, like I don't know if this year's next year's TaylorMade driver is already kind of done. You know what I mean? And now they're already working
They'll
on
be
the next
working
one.
on
Do
it.
you know what I mean? Like,
They work like decades, like a decade in advance.
yeah, that's wild.
So they've got a room, which is definitely a bit for show, but they've got like a massive vault door in HQ in California, which nobody's allowed in apart from the research team, because in the vault, that's where they're making their products, years in advance.
Yeah,
And that's what they were saying about the carbon face. They were in development that for years and years and years.
that's wild. That's so it's just so crazy because I just think like, and obviously for us it's great because we have the new content and like the club reviews do very well for us. Like we do a very good thorough review of it, but just how easy that's going to be every year. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just going to be the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, what we see is there's definite talking points with each driver that comes out, and the marketing teams at each of these companies now is, I would say, an integral part of that design as well.
Which is why the Paradigm done so well, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the way that Callaway launched it, like with the signings, like say with Good and like Bob Does Sport. I mean, they're definitely kind of changing the way that they target the people who buy their drivers, and I think they're doing a really good job of it. But I think what you tend to see is movements over like a number of years rather than year on year. So like going back to, let's say 10 years ago, cutoff point where SLDR drive from TaylorMade. So all of a sudden, every kind of brand at that point was going for the biggest head possible, 460cc, to try and make it forgiving, to try and get it up in the air. What TaylorMade did with the SLDR is they shoved like the center of gravity as far forward as possible, so it lowered the spin. So it lowered the spin, they increased the loft, so it flew a long way without spin. They added distance to that driver, no doubt about it. The problem was it was so unforgiving that like the vast majority of people just couldn't figure it out.
Couldn't hit it.
Yeah. So what you then saw was every other brand figure out how to get weight and move forward to try and lower spin. That is why now you see driver companies release multiple products with like a low spin version, a normal version, a forgiving version.
Yeah.
So that started there. Then you started to see a lot more companies think, right, okay, we can move the weight forward, we can lower spin. What else can we do to get speed and distance? That's where you started to hear a lot more of a narrative about making the driver more streamlined, more aerodynamic. Mm-hmm. There's limits to how fast the ball can come off the face. There are no limits to how fast that club can move. So that's where they started to develop that kind of thing. Now, in the last few years, what you're seeing a lot more of is a forgiveness and ball speed across the face. And that's the main kind of, it's a harder talking point, but every single manufacturer is trying to get the ball to go faster on off-center hits, not center hits.
Yeah.
So those are the trends you tend to see, and that's like over the last 10 years where that's happened.
Yeah. So what's I think that's probably my next question is that like, right, so you've done all that, you've gone through about shifting the weights and all that. Now what's the next stage? what more can we do now? That's the bit that I'm a bit like.
I suppose
what else can you do?
I suppose the big player in this all will be is there's the ball. If they start bringing back with the ball changes and that actually does get implemented, then there's going to be potentially different ways at looking at the face and how this new ball can be react differently off the face, and how they can get more ball speed with this particular ball, or the way they go about tackling that, I suppose, because as much as they as a company are now going to have to each individually going to have to look at how they create their balls if they've got to make something that matches everything, or at least for the higher end guys, but if they need to react and make a tailor-made driver for the top dogs that does a better job with ball speed because this new ball is really hard to hit further, then maybe that's the way they'll look at it.
I mean, don't be under any illusions. Like, even though the driver tech is changing and moving on, the biggest change in the last couple of decades is the ball.
Yeah,
like the drivers today will not hit the ball anywhere near as far if the ball hadn't developed at the same pace.
Yeah.
Like, the ball's the most important thing.
Yeah.
As far as like getting the combination correct and getting that extra distance, launch, spin, all the rest of it. There's no doubt there.
You don't really you don't really see the ball pushed though, do you? Which I suppose is just golf in itself, is that you can't play without a ball, so you don't need to.
It's hard to make it exciting.
Yeah,
that's the thing. So a driver, you can have so many features, and you can talk about these fancy new things that are going to enable you to hit the ball further.
Yeah.
There's only so much excitement you can pack into layers on a golf ball.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a new cover.
Yeah.
Look at our dimple pattern.
Yeah.
the core is red.
And also, like, the ball industry is a bit more dominated, I say, in terms of, like, obviously with Titleist Pro V1, just basically the Titleist ball. Like, they're sort of like the staple. They're the main one. Obviously, like the TaylorMade balls and the Bridgestone balls, for example, are great, but when you think of golf balls, like, I'm instantly go to a Pro V1 X, or like a, you know what I mean? Like, that's the pinnacle. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, let's move on to golf balls now from driver. I think with golf balls, Titleist, especially in the premium ball market, like Titleist for many, many years, have had the Pro V,
like smashed it.
Pro V1, Pro V1X. They've added the AVX as well. They are still seen by many to be the top ball in the premium market and other markets. So your higher handicap golfers, like, they are still very, very strong.
Yeah.
But they are being chipped away at, because what manufacturers probably won't tell you as well, margin and the biggest profit margins in equipment are in balls. Like, once you get the facility set up to produce balls on a large scale, that is by far the most profitable part of pretty much any golf company.
Yeah.
So that's why
that's
why Titleist, like, that's why you see them, like, go to court so many times. That's why you try and see them sue for patent infringement so many times, because that is their moneymaker.
Yeah.
Like, they don't make money off selling the TS series, not really.
Yeah.
Like, not compared to their ball profits. So that's why you see every other company try and get a slice of the pie.
Yep.
There's no secret why every single top manufacturer now has a premium ball pretty much pitched at the same price, and it has to be said, performing at the same level. Like, there's not a massive gap, like, between Pro V1 and your TP5, your Chrome Soft X, all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So that's why. I mean, for me, I think Callaway have done a good job at. Do you remember a few years ago they were getting slated for having the off-center calls? Talked about that.
Off-center course.
Yeah. So when I think it was My Golf Spy, I think, was doing most of it. So they started to cut loads of different golf balls open.
Yeah.
And they found that the cores of the Callaway Chrome Soft X were off-center a lot.
What, for a manufacturing issue?
So like, at a manufacturer, they just weren't being centered properly.
Right.
So Callaway went away and they've invested a hell of a lot of money in actually making sure their cores are, like, the most consistent.
Yeah.
And we got took through this at the start of the year. They're obviously trying to make sure that everyone knows what they've changed. But they've also ramped the price up. Like, the Chrome Soft X used to be the cheaper premium ball. It's now pitched at the same price as the
£60 or something, isn't it?
It's now pitched at the same price as Pro V, which is a shame, but it is what it is. They've passed that product improvement along, I suppose. I think ball wise, it's pretty static. Like I said, every single top manufacturer, each one of their balls is great.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing bad. The only one I've not really tested out much is the new Mizunos, so I need to get onto that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think balls is pretty static. Any top premium ball you buy is going to be good, and pretty much any like lower ball as well.
For your Sunday golfer as well. Like, you know, even for me, like I'll play with a ball that I find in the trees if it looks fine. Like, it doesn't matter.
There's no, honestly, like golf ball wise, there's no crap balls anymore.
Yeah.
Like if like you might even like the lesser brands, so to speak, that do get good reviews, but you might not know about your Vices, your Snell, you know, even some
Vice are great.
Yeah, even stuff like Kirkland signature balls. we all know that they're good now.
Yeah.
So you're
They're like
in
rocks.
safe hands. The only thing you don't get, just don't get refinished or refurbished balls. Like we all know that they are guff. So don't get them. Fairway woods.
It's probably the one area in club manufacturing, club development that just hasn't moved. Just what has been new in the last 10 years?
I think like I still have a G25, which is a
Ping shot.
How many years ago is that? Like 12 years?
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
And I still get good distance out of it.
I mean, manufacturing. We talk about like things that have moved on, like fairway woods.
Yeah.
Really, like. Yeah, you can use one from 10 years ago. It's still absolutely fine.
The one thing I will say is that the stealth. I find the stealth very powerful.
It's strong, yeah.
Very, very strong.
The difference is with kind of weight distribution and what manufacturers have done a little bit is like they've started to make their fairway woods stronger. So they've tried to make them more powerful. So again, they can sell that as a distance gain.
Yeah.
You know, but like, honestly, over the last 10 years, there's not been that much of a
Yeah.
difference. I'm still very much along the lines of like Ping still make the easiest to hit. They're great. Like,
But yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. You nailed it on the head there. Like the powerful, like they're strong. Because I'd say that my free wood is a lot different and harder and easier to hit than the stealth. But the stealth goes only about 15 yards more. But it's just like, it's just better. It's just better. Yeah, it's just better. Yeah, the TS3 as well.
you vibe. Let's not give too much away. These
that was lovely.
These videos. Let's not give too much away. I think iron wise, now I will exclude a little bit myself because the irons that I've got coming through for my bag are the most beautiful thing ever created in the world. But for a general consumer, I think the TaylorMade series is
it's up there, isn't it?
It's just so good looking this year. Honestly, like we had so what you tend to find is that all brands have like a bladed club and cavity back and all the rest of it. But each one of the TaylorMade series this year, so you got the MB, which is the blade all the way through. Maybe not the stealth is like the hybrid kind of type club. Yeah. But we'll kind of throw some images up here of the lineup. They've managed to make them quite similar looking from like your lower handicap club to your higher handicap club, and they just look so good. They just look so good. Yeah, like it's beautiful, so nice.
The irons as well is the part of the bag that I think you can, as an individual, try and be a bit flashy. Like if you want to show off, because unless you have head covers on, I mean, if you want to have iron covers,
might be a thing.
Maybe. They're the things that sit in the bag that people can see, and your irons can be that's the one thing that you can show off. And everyone has a personal preference, I suppose. I think like Kieran, you really enjoy the ZX7s at the minute, or you've always kind of had an affinity to tricks and irons. I can't say they're my favourite to look at, which obviously is just pure opinion based. I've always kind of had some TaylorMade irons in the bag, which I suppose provide some sort of bias that I'm gonna appreciate them a little bit more. But those new irons are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I think as well now, like with you going into your new irons coming soon, the Itaboris, there's a bit more scope as well for like niche.
Yeah. You
can go a little bit more different and you can still get a good product.
Yeah, I think it's maybe it's just something the way that the golf industry is going. So these niche brands they're just becoming more. They're becoming more common knowledge. I mean, that it's just the availability is opening up so much more. Obviously, via that, the internet, that big crazy thing. Like you can sell your products from anywhere. I mean, if you think about what we've seen with Haywood, Tacoma,
is what I was going to say. Sub 70.
These types of brands that are direct to consumer, making really good stuff and making it so much cheaper.
Yeah.
That is something which I would kind of point out, is that when we talk about the main brands, they often are like still some of the most exciting clubs, but the availability out there. I mean, we've got our irons coming through. Admittedly, these are very expensive irons. They're hand forged, they're hand finished, all the rest of it.
Very specific.
So specific.
Yeah.
And they cost a lot. But even that, we're talking about Dragon Golf, which is a UK company, has now links into forging houses in Japan. So clubs that you would only really get if you were based in Japan are now available worldwide through these kind of distributors. Exactly, the world is opening up. So you can get really, really niche and really into it. I definitely think kind of like Haywood, Tacoma, Sub 70, those brands deserve a shout out for the work they're doing.
Yeah, 100%.
I think TaylorMade irons, like I said, as a series, are great. I think the Ping G430 irons. Again, I don't know if they have been they've been received in a very underwhelming manner. Like, people don't really seem to think much of them. I think they're great. Like, for a forgiving iron, which is consistent and just is going to last you a lifetime.
Yeah,
I think they're great. They're really good. I've not done a proper review on them yet, but I might do another one. What should the title be?
I think
Everyone's wrong.
Yeah,
these are great.
No, I think that we talked about earlier about sort of like the advertisement of stuff and how good TaylorMade and Callaway were. I'd say that Ping's sort of promotion towards the G430 range was not very good.
Wasn't really there.
It wasn't there. Like, it, they didn't stand out. There was nothing. It was, I mean, and I say that in this day and age is now a massive, massive part of it.
I mean, I think Ping are just a bit safe.
Yeah.
They're safe in what they do.
Yeah.
You see TaylorMade and Callaway obviously making great products, but like I said, the way that they're going after different markets now.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about Callaway on a very strategic level, getting rid of Tour Pros, which is something that we see kind of developing over, again, the last kind of 5 years or so. Getting rid of Tour Pros, using that money, and starting to buy up things like Good.
Yeah.
Not buy up, but you know what I mean, sponsor.
Yeah.
Kind of get them on board. They've got Bob Does Sport. Reaction to that, you got TaylorMade. They've got all the Barstool lot.
Yeah.
They signed
Micah
up
and
Grant, Micah. You're starting to see this now, where they understand that the eyeballs aren't really specifically on all the tour events anymore.
But Ping don't do that.
No, Ping don't.
You know what I mean? So, like,
slight detour. We can come back, but you just obviously there. You're talking about Callaway and TaylorMade making content creator signings. Every single person you name there is American.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something in that, or
no? I think it's just eyeballs. So if you think about who are the hottest up and coming creators right now, obviously Good.
Yep.
They've been smashing it for last 2 and a bit years, but it's the last year where they've really exploded. Bob Does Sport, relatively new, but getting fantastic numbers.
Yeah.
I think with American-based YouTubers, social media influencers, like when we started, so kind of when I started making videos, I couldn't figure out why there weren't more American-based golf influencers. I was stood there shivering my ass off in 4 degrees on a Monday morning in Manchester, like filming videos with the motorway rumbling behind me, thinking, why isn't there someone in California making videos like this?
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. But now what you've seen is that golf scene on YouTube. You obviously got Rick, who's still the biggest channel, but like it's shifted a little bit.
Yeah, I certainly agree to that to a certain extent. Obviously, they are, they're you go where the it's the hottest at the moment, and obviously those guys are there. But like in with modesty, like we are. I'm not putting ourselves out there at all. I know we've kind of sort of publicly said that signing on with a club manufacturer kind of degrades whether we could do club reviews properly and all that kind of stuff. But we get as many views as these guys. We are not quite.
Not quite. Yeah, and it's also potentially like
but like Micah and Grant and stuff, we get the same.
Yeah, I know what you mean. We are,
don't diminish ourselves, guys.
Yeah, as far as the top 10 golf YouTube channels, we are kind of very steadily in UEFA conference or Europa League kind of position. We need that push to get into the Champions League. So we are up there. I think as well you've got to say that a lot of these companies, if you take out the if you basically look at the biggest manufacturers, most of them are US based from a corporation standpoint, and it is very much still about kind of who you know, those direct conversations. So like even with what we do, most of say our partnerships, for example, they are US based when you trace it back, but we have to go through the European team, who then go through like the world team, and then go through like the States. Like if you have direct access, it does make a difference. And we're not interested in being sponsored by a club manufacturer.
No, I know. It's sort of just the more there is seemingly a US heavy investment.
There could be definitely potentially like different budgets as well. Like say you go through Europe, then Europe go to the US and like confer there. So maybe the US are sort of like that's the main bit, and then these are the feeder bits in like the Europe side of stuff. Like so
it's like it's just I think what they're doing as far as who they're signing up is good. Like for them. Yeah. Like who they're targeting, how they're trying to get into it. And I think overall it shows that, these companies in the golf industry at large is taking what people are doing on social as important. They're understanding that this is where the eyeballs are at the moment.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
And it's not like they devalue us. It's just more that like they know that we're probably just as important to them as they are as they are good, because we're the ones that review the clubs and we're the ones that give the unbiased opinion. You know what I mean? So it's like they've got to have people out there that sort of do that, don't they? So yeah,
absolutely. Wedges. Has everyone had a good try? Shall we actually skip wedges because we are doing a video literally right now on the best wedges?
Yeah,
we don't give it away.
I feel like you're also very undecided as well.
Oh no, mine is.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. I didn't know. I thought you were a bit.
My mind's up too.
Undecided.
That doesn't really matter, does it? So.
Yeah.
Jacob Broadbridge Golf coming out September the 2023.
Putters.
It's another one in it where like you literally could have a putter from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
As you'll find out tomorrow, as you're listening to this, Pete, you do have a new putter in the bag.
I do.
You used it all the time we were away in Portugal.
I did.
And you putted very, very well.
I did. So today. It's today, isn't it? So we've got a...
this is coming out
tomorrow.
Wednesday.
So today. We've got a golf video out today on putters. So my putting for quite a number of years now is best categorized as inconsistent to crap. So what I wanted to do was try out as many putters as I physically could and just find one which doesn't make me want to crap myself over a 4-foot putt. And I think we've managed to find it. They let me raid the warehouse at Golf Bidder, and that video is out today. So check it out. It's very intense. So we've literally been testing putters for like 6 weeks now.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
I'm sick of seeing putts.
I love I remember we did the putter video last year or a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago now.
Where we did, it was the time of the Super League. And we like decided to like pick them out of the hat and like do a head-to-head. That video literally took all day to film, didn't it?
Yeah. Where this has taken all day of 6 weeks.
Yeah, and this is like, I mean, this video has gone from London to Liverpool to Wales to Manchester to
Portugal.
Portugal.
It's mad. It's a whirlwind of an experience.
An international putter test.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the edit. It's going to be mega.
I wonder what I think with like as far as putter ranges, new ones that have come out. I think Odyssey obviously very strong. We've already spoken about the spider putters from TaylorMade not being spider putters, not really understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
Probably what's kind of impressed me the most is the PXG range. Maybe because I've not tested them before.
Yeah.
But they're good. Like, really good.
You did have a very sort of, again, you had quite a bespoke fitting, didn't you? You went through all of them and had a look. But they're nice.
I've only got my hands on the one that you got fitted into, so I haven't seen the full set, so to speak, and so I can't really speak on that. But that one that you've bought back particularly is very nice. Yeah. Now, we've made reference to the fact that it is kind of a bit of a combination of a couple of shapes that have been made by other companies and that are very successful, but it works. And
I mean, the thing is like putter design, it's gonna be difficult to bring out a putter which has a genuinely new, unique design,
like a lab.
Like a lab, I suppose. Yeah,
lab is lit. Yeah,
but that has also that like mass market appeal. Like the new. So if you think about a new shape, so you think about 2-ball.
Yeah.
So when the 2-ball came out, that was new. Like, and it got that mass market appeal. Like the number 7 design from Odyssey. I mean, that wasn't completely unique, but it was newish and like it's been developed and added to and like pretty much taken on board by every manufacturer now. Yeah. So every now and again, there's like this, obviously the answer style. If you go back in the day to when Ping brought that out, but it's kind of hard. So like most manufacturers will have a version of all these putters and anything in between. Yeah. There's not going to be anything crazy coming out, but the consistency of that PXG range I thought was really good. But also for me, maybe like overall, like PXG for me, most improved award, maybe.
Most improved award.
Like everything that I tested there was just good.
Yeah.
Decent. We need to do the drive review. Not done that yet.
Yes, we do. There's plenty of PXG clubs in there.
We're just not filming enough at the moment.
No. God, we don't have enough content.
Don't have enough. So yeah, I think that's a decent. Yeah, I think that's a decent.
Maybe that's one for Turkey.
Oh yes, we're going to Turkey next week.
As if we don't travel enough this month.
To be fair, like the next 8 weeks, I think we're traveling for 6.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's going to be intense. There's a lot of good stuff coming your way.
Is everyone's passport still in date? Yeah, we're all good.
They might actually like ask us.
They might just go out.
They might stop us at the airport. Say, "Oh, you seem to have been leaving the country unusually."
What are you running from?
Yeah. What are you carrying with you today, sir? Has anybody asked you to carry anything today?
Did you pack your bag yourself?
So yeah, I think that's pretty much rounded up.
Yeah, definitely.
Talking about Ping being boring and a little bit consistent with what they do. We're looking at a new age on the PGA Tour of one of now the most consistent winners out there, Tony Finau.
Yeah, that wasn't one of your best.
It wasn't. I admit that.
Yeah,
it's fine.
You went with it.
It's fine. I went with it. I kind of dived in and like hit the concrete.
Yeah. No, it was good. It was good.
It's fine. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, Tony Finau wins in Mexico and faced down Jon Rahm.
Yeah, literally facing off against the world number 1.
I would say that's probably one of, if you were to level a criticism at Tony Finau over the last kind of 5-10 years, is his ability to finish off events when he has some real tough competition.
Yeah.
And now in the last kind of 2 years, he's now a multiple winner.
6-time
winner. He's won some big events, and now the Mexico event, as far as like prize funds and strength of field, it isn't the strongest. It's in a bit of a weird time of the year when this is an event that a lot of the best players would skip. But Jon Rahm won last year, so he committed to playing it again. And without Tony there, he would have won it.
Yeah, he would have won it.
So yeah, Tony faced him down. Really good.
I think it was something like the winning score this year, which was 24.
24.
Was 6 shots better than when Jon Rahm won the year before. And I think even like Rahm's score this year was like 3-4 shots better than what he shot the year before as well.
It's just good. I mean, he's one of those guys, Finau, who you want to see do well. Like, you just want him to play well. You want him to win because he just seems like just a nice
Just a lovely guy. I mean, what like shocks me a lot is that the family all goes as well. There's like 7 kids, which I love that.
They're all colour coordinated as well. They're all like in white and green, right?
Yeah, all in the white and green. Yeah. Mexico colours.
I mean,
love
it's great, and like because this was the thing in the Netflix documentary that a few people were saying that when he brings his family around with him, is that a distraction to actually playing the best golf? And I think he's showing that that's not the case. It actually lifts him up.
Yeah, I think he made reference to that. I think he sort of said like having them around does level me out a little bit and kind of takes me away from the golf course. I'm not worrying about it so much. And I suppose it's from person to person. Like, I can't imagine when Brooks Koepka has a family of little sprogs running around that he's going to enjoy them being about whilst he's playing golf. But, you know...
Why Brooks?
Because...
Why are we talking about Brooks here?
Because we've seen the insight of him, like, in full swing, and I just can't imagine that when he's got his kids about, he'll be happy with them running around. He's having to change diapers whilst he's trying to win the Masters.
Diapers?
I'm going to throw this out there, Kieran, and say that, Brooks,
Brooks
and Tony, quite different characters.
What was it he said when we watched the end of it, because it was the night we flew back in, so we watched like the last few holes, and Kieran went, I'm assuming they're homeschooled, these kids. I wonder, I hope they've got a tutor at home.
Yeah, I was going to say that. How? Yeah,
worrying about their education.
Yeah, well, no, yeah. You got to worry about that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? That's
a good point. It might be homeschooled. They might attend an online school via the internet.
Yeah.
Just to
it's a magical thing.
Also continue on Tony Finau's good guy vibe. Did you see the videos of him like caddying for his kids?
The day after.
No, it was literally on the night. It was in the night.
Oh, was it the night?
Yeah,
right.
So,
okay.
They went out onto the par 3 course, which they get referenced to a lot in the commentary. I remember there's a 10-hole par 3 course, and his kids were playing, and he was walking around caddying.
Love that.
Yeah, I did.
Dad of the year.
I did see that. I mean, like the most online reactions you can imagine possible. It ranged from, what a great dad, he's just won this event, and rather than going out celebrating, he's out there with his kids supporting them. Oh, Tony's a great guy. Then the next comment would be, well, it's not like he's been working on a building site all day. He's just won a golf event.
Drive doing a 14-hour shift.
Yeah.
A lot of cynicism in the world, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. But we like Tony. I think he's a good guy.
We do like Tony.
He's got to be inside top 10 now, is he? Or at least scraping.
I'm not checked, actually. I mean, the official world golf rankings. It's an interesting subject. I think we can all agree that Tony is one of the best players in the world, alongside Taylor Gooch.
Brooks Koepka.
Did
you like me asking that question then?
I did. That was a great segue.
That was good.
That was seamless.
Yeah.
I think so the situation is, at this moment in time, we have, if you think about it, 3 main golf tours. Okay, we've got the PGA Tour. We've got the DP World Tour, which I think's in maybe a spot of bother. Yeah. Well done, Pablo Larrazabal for winning.
Great win.
But me, you guys, and probably most people listening to this don't have a clue what happened in that event.
Not a clue.
And we've obviously got Liv. So those are the 3 main tours with the majority of the world's best players. What we have, PGA Tour, it does accrue official world ranking points. So does the DP World Tour. And then you've got Liv, which has some of the best players in the world playing. You can't really doubt that. And it doesn't get any ranking points. Now, if you want points, the simplest way to put it, there are a number of different kind of stipulations that you need to accrue points. The simplest is you need to play in an event with a cut. Yeah. That's basically it. You could talk about the rounds and like the number of holes you play, but bear in mind, I got world ranking points for playing on the PGA Euro Pro Tour, which is a 3-round event.
Yeah, because it's got a cut.
But it's got a cut after 2 rounds.
What was your highest ranking? It was like 1,000.
No, I think it was like 45.
45.
1,000 to 45. No, I got into the top 1,000.
Did you?
Yeah, I broke into top 1,000 because I think it was around 800. because like that's when Tiger was dropping.
And you
I
were
thought,
really
oh my
close.
god.
Oh, really?
When he had like 3 years off from playing, and then he came back.
That would have been so good.
So anyway, but the argument at this moment in time is it time to actually start awarding Liv tournaments world ranking points? Because you've had a situation now with Taylor Gooch. He had a little bit of a thing about getting in the USPGA, and he has won 2 weeks in a row, and he's gone down in the official world golf rankings. Now, whatever you think about Liv, and like I said, I'm not 100% on board with it. There's things I don't like, but I kind of find it hard to understand why he isn't getting rewarded in the world of golf for winning those events. Because we're talking about, no matter what you think about the Liv Tour, you're talking about a ranking which gives you the best players in the world.
Yeah.
Now, with the Liv fields, even though there's no cup, they're still strong fields, and he has gone down in the rankings after winning 2 weeks in a row. That's not, if you think about purely baseline, who the best players in the world are, how they're ranked, that can't be right.
Yeah, you are right. But for me, the only issue I have with Liv is the cut, that there's no cut. And I think you said pretty well there that to stipulate being in the official world golf rankings is you have to make a cut. And for me, I'm very much an advocate to keep that. And if Liv were to get the ranking points, and there's still no cut, I find that that's going to be the big turning point for Liv, and I find that that's going to be, quite a big statement, not only for Liv but just for the PGA Tour, everything.
I think with this though as well, with the PGA Tour, there are events that there are no cut, and there's going to be more events where there's no cut coming in. With these designated events. So, eventually it's going to come down to the point where there's no real excuse that they shouldn't be awarded world ranking points, apart from the fact that we don't like Liv, so we're not going to do it. Which is, for me, again, it's not a sustainable point of view, because if they keep signing up some of the best players in the world, it's you can't.
Yeah.
It's not
No. God, no.
I think like you make reference there to the designated events that are coming in next year with no cuts. That really does kind of end, I think, PGA's Tour's ability to kind of use that as an excuse or a reason not for it to be the case. Like I don't really think you've got a leg to stand on, really, if you're self-producing events that doesn't involve that cut, which is this parameter that you have to get official world golf ranking points, and you're not doing it yourself, and Liv also don't do it, then what's the difference now? It's a 3-round event rather than a 4-round event, so you're not playing a full 72 holes, so that's the difference. Like there's always, unfortunately, I think, going to be a case of you're not doing the same thing we're doing, so it doesn't co-align with what a proper golf tournament should be. Whoever decides what a proper golf tournament should be is the other thing.
That's the thing. It's like how those parameters about what defines a qualifying event for points. What they can change. It's not like it's set in stone.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of is set in stone because it has to be a cut, isn't it? But
yeah, but it doesn't have to. The thing is, like with any criteria in any sport, in any world, the rules can change. There's absolutely no reason an event has to be 72 holes. There's no reason it can't be 54, even though as we've discussed, there are kind of problems with that.
Yeah,
you can change it no matter what. It doesn't matter. We're not going to be breaking any international laws here.
Yeah,
but there's a couple of problems where I think when Liv was launched, they didn't take this into consideration. I think that Greg Norman and the organisers thought, well, if we get a certain amount of good players, they're going to have to award us these points.
Yeah.
Because it would be silly not to. It doesn't help that obviously Greg Norman for the last 2 years has been one of the most abrasive, annoying people within golf to literally everybody. He's backed himself into a corner by being a douche many times.
Yeah.
So that hasn't helped. You've obviously got the backing of the Liv Tour, who's behind it and how it's kind of come into being, which a lot of people don't like. So you've got these things which are set against it.
Yeah.
Just on a purely best player in the world kind of ranking at the moment, it's messed up.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not right.
I do believe that if this live event or live tour, golf tour was funded by an American stream, it wouldn't be a problem.
No,
I think that's the obviously the big factor of just they are digging their heels in on the fact of where this money's coming, who is creating it, and is it for what reasons is it being created for? These are all kind of things that whatever you think, whether rightly or wrongly, everyone is going to have an opinion on it, and because the negative side of it is such a strong negative that there's always going to be a little bit of backlash behind it and acceptance behind it.
Yeah, I suppose if points are awarded, then it is a legitimization of that tour.
That's it.
And that's my point.
Yeah.
Is that
It's that final. You're a thing now.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's
As
like,
soon,
you're not going away. You're an actual thing.
Which then, for the PGA Tour, there's no reason after that people coming out of Q School or that are currently on the PGA Tour would want to move over to Live and would want to, because there's more. There's clearly, they've been very open about the fact that there's way more money, way more funding behind it. So if you're someone coming out of Q School and you've almost now got a choice where I could go on the Live, earn more money, and still get official World Golf ranking points, puts the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour at a real detriment. So
I mean,
yeah.
Bear in mind with money, and this is what it boils down to as far as like what tour you're thinking of playing on. Like John Rahmer's won over $20 million this season.
Yeah.
Like, these boys aren't.
They're not struggling.
Yeah.
They're not struggling. Like
No.
they're all right.
No.
They're doing fine.
No, you are right. You are right.
The Live. This was maybe a couple of months ago or so that they released out that they were changing the way that the team money was where it went, because there was a thing about, and I read something even yesterday I think about Taylor Gooch. He actually lost $2 million less than what he was expected to get in his earnings, and it was something to do around the team element, and what they were trying to change was that if the team won, instead of the money getting split evenly across the 4 players, the money just like goes to the team, and then the team has to use that money because they were changing like paying for the caddies and travel and all that kind of stuff. Those things that they kind of championed as we look after everyone. They changed that to make it that the teams then had to fund it, but they were giving the money that they won in the team events for them to do that. And it was like it changed a little bit in terms of the prize money that you could win in that environment.
It's to stop people like Pat Perez, who has played shocking golf.
The Pat Perez rule.
Yeah, still earning.
It is
the Perez clause.
Yeah, what did he earn? Like $9 million because of DJ last year.
He did nothing.
And he did nothing. That's just like, you know what I mean? It's
also a very small side note as well, because obviously with the Liv, they've joined up with the Asia Tour, and they've trying to use that as a way to get in, bought into the Asia Tour, and use that as a way to be playing on a tour that has been legitimized before and all this kind of stuff. There was I think maybe even half an hour before we started filming this, and it's probably very minuscule news really, but the DP World Tour have just signed a deal with the Korean Professional Association. They're going to have co-sanctioned events with Korea, which obviously we talk about the DP World Tour and where they're at the minute and what are they. It's such even something like that is like, okay, well, that's good because it probably puts some golf events in Korea and some live golf for that Asian market to enjoy. But again, it's just kind of like okay.
Yeah. They've, to be honest, like the DP World Tour formed the European Tour. it's in the position at the moment where I don't know where it's going to go. Like, it's got a strategic partnership with the PGA Tour, but it's a partnership which is very much based on what the PGA Tour wants. Yeah. Now, that is not in a healthy position for the DP World Tour to be. Yeah. The events at this time of the year on the DP World Tour are a bit wild. You know, they fly everywhere. They go to every country possible, and it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah,
you know, it's not an easy tour to kind of watch and to keep up with who's playing the best and kind of what they're doing. The disparity in the pay now between PGA Tour, Liv, and the DP World Tour is massive.
Yeah.
It's huge. Now, if you're in that situation, the best players from Europe, you can talk about them maybe like doing what a lot of players have done of like cutting their teeth in Europe, playing lots of events, traveling to all these places, really honing their games, and then going on to the PGA Tour and then dominating from there, which has happened, you know, multiple times.
Yeah,
or dominating, you know, being a top player.
Like a Rory,
like a Rory, like Shane, players like that. Yeah, Tommy.
Fleetwood.
Yeah, you got all these players who have gone that route. Whereas at the moment, like, sometimes if you look at what the Corn Ferry Tour are doing, for example, like the prize funds are good.
Yeah.
And it gives you a direct access. Yeah. And a lot of the best players from Europe with the college system in the US are over there already. The reasons for coming back to play in the DP World Tour are less and less and less.
Yeah.
So we've seen over the last few years the kind of the better events, the more well-supported events in Europe tend to be back-ended. So when the PGA Tour kind of finishes, very much in quotation mark, when the Tour Championship is going into September, that's when the race to Dubai and those kind of events start to kick in.
Yeah.
So if that's what they're going to be, like if the DP World Tour is going to be a August to December tour, then fine.
Yeah.
But they've got to figure something out.
Yeah.
Because if not, they're just going to be slowly kind of pecked away at by the PGA Tour, who they've got a partnership with, and the Liv Tour, who are off on their own with enough support to do what they want.
Yeah.
It's not a great position. Especially, it bothers me because that's what I grew up watching.
Yeah.
I grew up watching the European Tour.
Yeah.
Like during the summers when, like, I was off school, especially, just sit down if I wasn't at the golf club, watch European Tour, like get to know all these players, and I really enjoyed it.
And you saw the big dog European players playing on it.
Yeah, week in, week out.
Montgomery was playing on it. Seve, how many times he won on the tour? People like, they just like, you don't have those kind of people anymore. And now you say obviously that with DP World Tour being a bit of a feeder to the PGA Tour, and it kind of always has been that to a certain degree. Like there's always been that step up of like, that's the pinnacle in the PGA Tour, and this is kind of what people get to. But even like, you know, you name guys like Shane and Tommy and Rory, there was that sort of natural progression. And now, you know, you've got Moronk this year who's made a few PGA Tour starts. You've got Nikolai, I think, who's played a couple now. I'm not sure if Rasmus has yet. But that's kind of it. Like, there's not really any other guys that they're using that as a step, are you? But you say a lot of, I suppose, the European guys now are, as you say, on the Corn Ferry tours and stuff, and that is the easier way to get to do it.
Yeah, but it's also like if your world ranking is good enough, you can get into the bigger events.
Yeah.
Under like PGA exemptions. So and the majors, obviously, good finish in those. You're going to get ranking points, which again gets you invites onto the PGA Tour. So it's just, you know, I'm not a strategist for tours. I don't know what they can do, but what Greg Norman certainly was always an advocate for, and I completely understand where he's coming from here, is that there was an option and an availability to have some kind of world tour, which is what kind of
he wanted.
He wanted, and a little bit of what they're doing with Liv. But the DP World Tour, formerly the European Tour, but it wasn't the European Tour for a long time. You know, they were going literally all over.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
And
well, their finals are in the UAE.
And they had an option of obviously getting on board with kind kind of like the funding where the money was available.
Yeah.
But then they signed the strategic partnership with the PGA Tour. Completely understandable. I get why they did that, but it's not working out. It's not working out from at the moment, and we might just see like the slow decline of it unless they get more funding in. Because as much as I love the DP World Tour, as much as I love what it has been in the past, if you're a player and you have an option of playing in an event where you can get upwards of 4 million for winning, and which is paid down a lot. We're talking about the big PGA Tour events.
Yeah.
And if you finish in the top 20, that's going to be paying pretty much the same as if you win in, deepest, darkest Peru.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
I mean, to be slight devil's advocate on this, like
Paddington Shower, though. I watched that one, came back from Portugal.
Oh, really?
Curled up on the couch, watched Paddington.
Oh,
From darkest Peru.
yeah, just to be slight devil's advocate here, like, the guys that are playing on the DP Tour week in, week out are not getting to the standard, or they're not creating themselves as a golfer enough to be able to be PGA Tour professionals. So why should they earn as much as guys that are better than them?
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not for 1 second saying that they should be. If you're a lesser quality of player, I'm not saying that you should earn the same amount of money as a better quality of player. This is something which has been argued quite a lot over the last kind of 10 years, that the best players in the world, the most popular players with the fans, their payments for being the best players in the world are actually pretty low when compared to other sports. Like the actual funding for events, the split of payments is actually a little bit weird, actually, if you think about it. It's just golf. Golf's got many different foibles like that.
Foibles.
But if you have the DP World Tour, let's just call it the World Tour. If you have the World Tour and that has funding which matches purses, all of a sudden you might have a few more players who actually want to play in Australia.
Yeah.
They actually want to travel down to South Africa. They want to play the French Open.
Yeah.
They want to get these experiences.
Yeah.
That's what you'll see. But at this moment in time, there's no one going to be picking a lower ranking DP World Tour event than a PGA Tour event.
Yeah, no, of course. Like, if you've got the choice between the two, then you're going to go for the PGA Tour. I think as well, like, again, the DP World Tour, and this is kind of, I suppose, a bit of a pessimistic mindset of way of looking at the tour now, and this is kind of, I suppose, what the argument is that we don't want to see this tour kind of just fall into mediocrity and sort of lose its power that it's had in years past. But I guess in a other side of it is, like, at least there is a tour that is available to these kind of guys that are not of the caliber that we're looking at on the PGA Tour, and they can still travel the world and earn money playing golf, which a lot of people will sit and look at and be like, lucky you, because I wish I could go and finish T20 and earn 20k and whatever it might be. There is still an option for people to go and travel the world and play golf.
Yeah, it's just from the.
It's just I know that's a very sad way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's the history of it, but it's also about the talent drain. So, like in any industry, if you have the best European golfers don't want to play on that tour because it's not profitable, they shift over as quickly as they can. That tour will cease to exist because no one's going to want to watch it.
Yeah.
And if no one's going to want to watch it, they're not going to be able to get the sponsors. And if they don't get the sponsors, there's no money. And if there's no money, then definitely no one will play.
But how long do we think this has been going on for? Because apart from when all the big guns come over before the Open and play in the Scottish, like, that's a classic. That gets a packed field because they want to come over and play a little bit links golf before. You've got the Desert Classic. That usually brings in a few. I know, obviously, Victor's played, Rory's played, Tyrrell, Tommy, so on and so forth. But really, like, the European Tour, DP World Tour, their fields and the way it's personally, I feel like it's been like this for over 5 years now.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not a sudden thing.
This isn't. This is something that we've seen happening, and now it's just with the progression. Well, Liv has really just kicked everything, hasn't it? Like that is just forced everything down the line.
Because
a lot quicker.
Liv took away, some of the bigger players like your Burnt, that was a staple DP World Tour player. Louis Oosthuizen, I'd say he was up there as well, and Brandon Grace. Like these people were
Richard Bland.
Blandy.
These guys were, staple DP World Tour players that were actually like bringing people in.
Yeah, you've got your Westwood Poulters
and your Westwood
and those kind of guys.
Exactly right. So Liv has detrimented it massively, I think, in terms of like the field.
Because what it's done as well, and I think a few more people are being honest about this as far as like the PGA Tour's concerned as well, is when Liv came in and said, right, okay, we are just going to pay you an absolute crap load of money if you come and play for us. And then the PGA Tour all of a sudden announced these extra events and with more money, PIP and all the rest of it, and then tried to claim that they were always planning to do it. Everybody knew that wasn't the case. Yeah. So all of a sudden, you've got Liv, you can have a bag load of money. PGA Tour, you can also have a bag load of money. Liv has unlimited funding. Like they can offer whatever they want.
Yeah.
PGA Tour has quite a bit of money in reserve, but also they've got a model as far as like their commercial sales, the popularity of their events, the amount of fans that come out and watch.
Yeah.
Obviously, world ranking points. They have a package which is very attractive still for a lot of players in the history, definitely. You got these two going at it, and then all of a sudden you got the DP World like, well, what are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
Yeah.
We've signed this strategic partnership where if our players leave to go to Liv, like we're going to fine them. Yeah. We're not going to.
Maybe that's what they do. Just fine them aggressive money.
Just fine them,
and then use
it to pay the events. And then there was a little bit of thing last year where some Liv players were coming over when they were qualified for European Tour events, DP World Tour events.
Yes,
I know. Yeah.
And quite a few of the players on the DP World Tour weren't happy with that because they left the tour and then come back.
Yeah.
Which I completely agree. Like, I'm very much an advocate for that, and like Billy Horschel spoke about that very, very advocately, and I completely agree. You can't have your what's the saying? Pies.
You got to take your cake and eat it.
No. What is it? Like fingering pies, isn't it? You know what I mean?
You can't finger pies.
Yeah, you can't think. Yeah.
Well, you'd say if someone's very active and they've got a lot of things going on, they've got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies.
Yeah, like Poulter wanted to play.
But then he wants to put. They want their fingers in all the pies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like Poulter wanted to keep playing on the PGA Tour. He wanted to keep playing on the European Tour.
You knew what you were doing.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
He's on Liv, and that's 2 pies. And if they're big pies, he's only got 2 hands.
Yeah, exactly.
So he'd have to put his foot in another pie.
Yeah. You don't put foots in pies.
No, and that only leaves him with 1 pie-free foot.
Yeah.
And as we all know, that's not sustainable.
That is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. No, 100%. But I think so I'd say that Liv, detrimented the DP World Tour massively. But then with the PGA Tour, like obviously you had massive players that went. DJ Brooks, who were some other big ones there? Cameron Smith, all those types of players that went. But the PGA Tour field was still high. Do you know what I mean? Like even, I don't know about you, but like even though these players have gone, I felt like the competition is just better in the PGA Tour. Like honestly, like
the PGA Tour still has some of the most exciting players.
Yeah, the level
and the players that you want to watch.
Yeah, 100%.
What Liv did is they took the players who were story makers. So you had.
They're divisive though, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the thing. They are divisive, but they're in the news.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. They didn't really take that many popular players. They took a few, obviously, like Stenson's very well liked. That was kind of a little bit of a blow to many people, especially with the Ryder Cup. Not for our mate Luke, though. Come on, Luke. But, the PGA Tour still has some good spokespeople on there. You've obviously got Rahm, who has become a bit of a statesman now of the game.
A machine is what he's become.
And obviously with the Full Swing documentary, it is definitely improving the image of a lot of these players. So, I mean, it could be, let's say, best case scenario, the PGA Tour would amalgamate with the DP World Tour and create that World Tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'd still have, but the PGA Tour doesn't want to host events outside of the US. Just doesn't want to. Like it never has.
Yeah.
So I don't see why they would change tact on that.
But I think the only thing also keeping it together is obviously you've got the World Golf events and the majors obviously linked to the race to Dubai. So that's still that reason why people will then want to play in a few of the DP World Tour events because they want to try and earn a bit more money at the end of the year.
And Ryder Cup as well.
And Ryder Cup, yeah, exactly.
It's still access to the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
you've got like Yannick Paul this year, who's playing really well on the DP World Tour, who's I think is third in the automatics for European points. Yeah. Guys like that.
I have no idea who that guy is.
I said this on the way, didn't I? Like,
I have no idea.
I don't think he finished great at the end of this week, but like he's strongly in there, like as an automatic.
Honestly, I don't even know what he looks like, which is I literally have no idea. You could tell me.
He could have walked past you yesterday.
Honestly,
he could have been there.
Honestly, I have no idea who this guy is, and apparently he's about to get in the Ryder Cup.
Well, now I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, Kieran.
Yeah.
You did, and you missed out.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all like friends of the channel say Rob McIntyre. Yeah, that's going to be his best bet into getting into Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So it does still have its plus points, and I'm not saying that it doesn't, but just a fear for it.
I do fear for the DP World Tour.
Do you fear that we could be sat here in 5 years and it's gone?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I do.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Really?
Like certainly in its current model.
Yeah.
Like bear in mind, I made this my last point. If you think about the events that
That'd be
all the players still want to play in, that's the Rolex events, which are much bigger purses, and that's why the players want to come there.
But that's still some on the DP World, isn't it, as well?
Yeah,
you got like
It all just boils down to money, doesn't it?
Of course it boils down to money. But let's say in 5 years, Rolex don't want to stump up that cash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that is.
then what?
Yeah.
That
who
does spell trouble.
They have been an absolute staple for the tours over the last how many years?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like
It's-
years and years.
Is it the case of saying, right, okay, so if they're not there, the biggest sponsors really with the DP World Tour are mostly kind of, again, Middle Eastern, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, unless they want to step up and be like, right, okay, we're gonna do a live here and kind of fund it as much as we can.
Yeah.
You think of that uninterrupted coverage that we get for an hour in the Rolex hour every week as well.
Love the Rolex hour.
Big up the Rolex.
What are we going to do with that? It's just going to be the hour.
This wrist is free for sponsorship. I'm sure other golf brands are available.
You're not picky, are
Golf
you?
brands.
Watch
Watch
brands.
watch brands. And talking about the ever ticking hands of time, I fear that this podcast has run its course. So I just want to say a massive thank you. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We're done. A massive thank you for listening on your favorite podcast provider. If you haven't, give us a follow. Make sure you do. Also, head over to the Golf YouTube if you're watching this there or you're listening and want to watch it on there. You can go subscribe, and the giveaway is coming very soon. So let us know what you think. I will say goodbye to my co-host Kieran.
Goodbye.
I will say goodbye to my co-host Jacob.
This is so
I know.
university
Yeah,
challenge.
exactly. Yeah.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye for me.
Goodbye.